How you doing, guys? Today we're going to do a pro shop resurfacing. Bowling balls as they're used become scratched. As you can see, this is what a brand new one looks like, how shiny it is out of the box from the factory. This is a ball that's probably got about 100 games on it. The shine is completely removed. There's scratches and dings and nicks all around the ball. Customer brought it in and she wants to resurface it. So we're going to try to make her old ball look like it does when it's brand new again. Okay, there are a couple of dings in this ball that are very deep. Normally a resurfacing is not going to get these gashes out because they've chipped out probably about a 32nd of an inch of a ball, and that's pretty deep to get out. But I'm going to try my best to make this area look and feel as if it was brand new. So this is a basic ball spinner setup. These walls here are to prevent splatter, but of course you can see in the back, splatter gets everywhere in this process. Resurfacing a ball takes a lot of the ball material out of the ball by sanding it. You start off with a very rough sandpaper. I like starting with 100 grit. This is 100 grit. You can find this at any Home Depot, any store that carries waterproof sandpaper. I go 100, then 220 grit, 320 grit, 400 grit, and this makes it pretty smooth. But most bowling balls are finished at 1500 grit or higher nowadays. So that's where the Abralon pads come into play, and these are sold at local distributors specifically for bowling balls. So we're going to start with the 100 grit, and we're going to take off pretty much the first layer of the ball. The key to resurfacing a ball properly, though, is to do it where you're not going to remove any of the label. Because if you remove the label, you've pretty much removed too much of the ball. After one resurface, there should still be a visible label all the way around the ball. You shouldn't be missing any of the pieces or anything like that. So we're going to start. You should always have a good amount of water and start off with your sandpaper nice and wet. What happens if you don't use enough water, the ball material clogs up the sandpaper so much that it becomes useless. So you want to always keep the sandpaper wet and keep it going at the same time. So as you can see, the ball has got a smooth surface now on the top half of the ball. It pretty much removed every little imperfection that was on the ball. The only things that you might see are the little deep ones that were still in the ball, here and here. But it should come out if you keep at it with the 100 grit. My way of resurfacing is a little different than everyone else's. The way that manufacturers suggest is you do 1/4 of the ball, then you flip it, then you do the other side, and then you flip it on its side, you do another side, and then you do the last side. If you do it properly, that's a great way of resurfacing the ball, but it's very time consuming. The way I do it is I just start with the top of the ball, which is the center of gravity, and I go through the entire step of all the sanding systems. So from 100, 220, 300, all the way down to whatever your finish system is, and that say is 1500 for this ball. I go all the way to 1500, and then I even shine it. And then I flip the whole ball over, and then I start from this side, which is marked with the USB-C logo and its serial number, and I do the same thing on this side all the way down, but it's very difficult to do it without leaving lines on the ball. I've been doing this long enough that I'm actually pretty good at getting it where I don't have to keep flipping the ball back and forth, back and forth. I could just do one side, do that, finish it, and then flip it over, and then do the entire ball just in 2 shots. So 1 turn pretty much. So that first sanding was to get off all the scratch marks that we did, to get off those 2 big marks. So I'm going to start here with the label. This is pretty much where we're going to go, and I'm going to go through all of the systems. This is 100 grit, and you see the water, you know, didn't get all the stuff out, so you kind of have to clear it out and then start again. So 100 grit, and here we go. So basically, when you resurface a ball, what you're doing with the next step, each next step is removing the other lines from the other paper right before it. So the first paper was 100 grit, this second paper was 200 grit, or actually 220 grit. The 220 grit should get rid of all of the lines from the 100 grit. So now you're at 220, and the ball it's already looking a little smoother. Okay, so then we just keep going from there. This is 400 grit. Now we go to Abralon, 500 grit, Abralon. Abralon's got a big handle on it, so you can kind of palm the whole thing and just place it on the ball. But you still want to add pretty much a good amount of pressure right in the middle of your palm and go up and down the sides. This is 800 grit. $1,000. And then 1,500 to finish. You can get a good close up there, and you'll see that you got a good finished product there. 1,500, smooth surface. The only thing that's missing now is the polish. So we always have rags lying around that are perfect for polishing the ball. It's a good microfiber towel. We apply some polish generously right on there and just start to haze it up. And then once it's all over the ball, you just kind of keep going up and down the ball, and you'll start to see the ball will start to shine wherever the wax has completely hazed, and now it's polishing the ball. And that's one half of the ball completely done. Flip it over. There will be a line that you see that goes all the way around the ball. You have to make sure that you get it right on the spinner so that when it spins, that line doesn't move. That's pretty close, but I want it even more perfect than that. That's pretty good right there. See how the line pretty much stays in the same spot? So now we're going to go back with the 100 grit on this side, but when we go down to the 100 grit, we don't want to go much further down below this line, because this part of the ball is all finished already. This is already 1,500, polished, perfect. We don't want to go much lower than this. And because the sanding paper is so rough, if you go lower than that, you're just going to scratch this part of the ball, and then it's going to kind of look bad there. So you have to be very careful not to go below this line. So I have a little trick on how when I hold the paper, my pinky is a reader. As it goes down, Once I hit the rubber here, I know I'm very close to going beyond that line, and it stops me. And then every paper after that, I just go a little bit lower and a little lower and a little lower with each subsequent grit, just to make sure that I'm not scratching the shiny part of the ball.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us.
So that's 100 grit on the other side of the ball. We're not going too much lower than where we originally finished the other side. Now we have to keep going, like I said, with the other grits. We just have to keep going a little bit lower each time so that you remove the old lines.
And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest, echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat.
Finish it off with a nice wet towel just to get the excess wax off the shell. And then we go right around, and as you can see, no lines on the side of the ball. Serial number, label still there. And let's go and check it out against the new one. Okay, as you can see, brand new one, refurbished one, refinished, resurfaced. There was one gash here in the label. I didn't want to take this out because if I were to take this out, I pretty much would have wiped out this part of the label. But everything else, I'm Marlon at thebowlingproshop.com. This is going to be the first of many videos that we're going to post in the future about the bowling industry. We'll probably get into stuff like drilling balls and resurfacing balls we did today. And hopefully it'll be helpful to all you guys that are interested in the industry, that want to get into it. If you have any questions, post your comments on the bottom. I'll get to as many as I can, and happy bowling.